The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. You can get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago, youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. I'm Father Greg Sakowitz, the rector of Holy Name Cathedral in Chicago, and co-host Mark Teresi, who is the director. We're chairing the 175th, 150th anniversary, also working with stewardship, along with Mary Lederer. Mm-hmm. So, good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. Very good, very good. Welcome to winter again after we had summer 2 days ago.
Well, remember, we are taping this on Thursday, leap year, February 29th, and the playback will be on Monday, today, March 4th. So we'll get right into our program here. Again, you can get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. St. Joseph Parish in North Suburban Libertyville is a vibrant faith community whose stated vision is, through our baptism and Eucharist, we are called to love as Christ loves and serve as Christ serves. I like that very much. On our program today, we have two groups of parishioners to tell us about two of the many wonderful ministries offered by St. Joseph Parish. Up first, we have Renee Zorc, Liz Kennedy, and Abby Daniels to tell us about the Soup for the Soul. So to Renee and Abby and Liz, good morning. Welcome to the program this morning. How are you ladies doing?
Fine, thank you.
Great. Good morning.
Good morning.
I like that enthusiasm there. It was all right. And now we were talking off the air. Soup for the Soul is really like taking from the book series that was called again Chicken. What was it again?
Chicken Soup for the Soul.
That's it, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And you had it last night. 160 women were present. It's a once-a-year event. And I think, Renee, you were the speaker?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Maybe to kind of step back a little bit, I know there's a difference of who maybe started this 10 years ago, but maybe either Renee or Liz or Abby, give us as best you can the starting foundation for Soup for the Soul. Who wants to give it a try?
What I was told was that the very first one back in 2015 was a speaker, Sister Alicia Torres, who came and did a cooking demonstration and talked about her journey on the TV show Chopped and all that, and that kind of set the precedence for us to keep going once a year, an evening of reflection put on by the women's ministry here at St. Joe's to bring in inspiring speakers to talk about their experiences from all sorts of backgrounds. So not just Catholic perspective, but we've had, obviously Sister Alicia Torres, but we've had a Holocaust survivor, Esther Laughlin. We've had a businessman, doctor from India, Dr. Ramesh Shah. And then we have, such a great pool of talented individuals in our parish. So like Renee, she was tapped to give her presentation last night. That was wonderful. And like we said, 160 people came out to see it, which was a record for this evening.
Renee, what was your topic yesterday?
So I take photographs, and I had traveled to India, so I put my photographs of India with Saint Mother Teresa's words.
Beautiful.
That's terrific.
What impacted you as you were preparing for your talk? What words jumped out at you from Mother Teresa?
Oh, there were so many. One is, live simply so others may simply live. I can't think of the other ones now.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one from Mother Teresa.
It sure is.
Now, along those lines, Abby, what is your involvement? Are you one of the core members of the group?
So I am a part of the parish staff. I'm the communications coordinator, and I also attended the event last night.
Well, that's wonderful. How many times have you been part of this presentation, or how many years have you been going to it?
So this was my first time going this last night, and it was awesome. It was really cool to see all the different pictures of Renee's trip and to hear just kind of how she was able to pair it together with the quotes. It's really cool. And just kind of learning a little bit more about St. Mother Teresa and her, where she came from in India.
I find it fascinating that there were 160 women present last night. Of course, it's a season of Lent, a time of conversion, renewal, repentance. The word Lent means springtime. What I find fascinating is 160 women for a Wednesday evening event, which means there's something happening in the parish, in I think our whole city, country. People are thirsting for the more, for the spiritual, and not just, the secular seems to be winning out the day, but there's a thirst. Maybe Liz, talk about that, where you could have had 30 women last night, 10 women last night, but 160 on a very cold night. Say more about that.
Sure. I think, part of it goes back to Father Trout's, goal for our parish is to have 24 and 24, so 2,400 people in the pews over a weekend for masses. So I think people are hearing that message coming across and wanting to get more involved and to be amongst their parishioners again. After the several, darker years of not being together, I think people are thirsting for that togetherness and, community. We're doing a lot of great things here with community building. Abby is our communications director. She's really getting the word out on social media, and she's really up-leveled the parish as far as, great videos and showing the ways that people are connecting. And I think maybe before it was a little harder to see it, but now that we have all these great social channels, people are really able to say, oh, I see there was an event that was going on last night. There was a lot of people there. I want to go to the next one. So I think that's a lot of it, is that, the word is getting out. People are, interested in joining their fellow, Libertyville, neighbors and everyone, and inviting. That's another key part of it, is that our challenge as part of our parish mission is to, one of the 4 pillars is invite and connect. And I think that's really coming across to everyone, to, invite a neighbor. We closed registration, and I kept getting emails from people saying, wait, I have one more. Can my neighbor come?
Wow.
And there's names that I hadn't seen before. So I think that's just a really inspiring evening, Renee's talk, but also just seeing that people are looking for this, that they're seeking out church and community.
So you could actually have had more than 160, but you had to cut it off because of capacity in the area used?
Yes. So our Koenig Center only holds a certain amount of tables, as you can see in some of the pictures that are showing, and we were filled to the brim.
That's wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Now, excuse me, Abby, you're a young adult, and you're in communications, and you chose to be at St. Joseph's. What moved you to St. Joe's? I mean, you're in a ministry now that many young people probably wouldn't choose. Why are you there?
Yeah.
Are you there, Abby?
For me, I grew up around here. My mom actually works at that church at St. Mary Vernon in Vernon Hills. And so
Sure.
I was looking for a job after college, and a position opened up here, and I wanted to be able to use my talents that God gave me for good. So I couldn't think of a better cause than working for the church.
So you're bringing what kind of new technologies to an understanding of, many parishes were sometimes in the Middle Ages in terms of technology. You're bringing new technologies. What do you see as you look at a parish and say, here's how parishes should be communicating? What kind of tools should we be using?
I think when it comes to parishes and using different communications tools, there's all kinds of opportunities. We are just getting started into posting more regular Instagram reels. So those are short videos on Instagram that are less than 60 seconds from all kinds of different events, from Mass, from different opportunities for people to get involved, different interviews. Yesterday, we just posted a video of all of our different staff members dancing to kind of promote our upcoming gala. It was just a silly little show your dance moves that you're using at the gala. And we even got our priest to dance with us. So that was a fun video.
Did Father Trout
I'm going to be posting one from last night's event too.
Did Father Trout do a jig, an Irish jig?
He did a little raise the roof.
That is terrific. I don't mean to put you on the spot there, Renee, but With your presentation last night, how did your presentation, when you're putting the whole thing together about Mother Teresa with art, with photography, with her words of wisdom, how did the presentation last night touch you as you were preparing it?
I wasn't that familiar with St. Mother Teresa's words, and so I did a lot of studying of her quotes. And the more I studied, the more that it was just kind of magical that I got to be where she was when I was traveling. And then to put them with my my pictures was very humbling.
That's terrific. And now you were there last night, Liz. How did Renee's presentation touch your life?
Well, I told her when she came in this morning, I said, 160 women, and the presentation was set to, kind of quieter yoga style music. And it was, you could have heard a pin drop in the entire room. So I think people were just, myself, touched by seeing the images of these people who are in utter poverty, from what we're used to. And then seeing Renee or hearing Renee, softly speak the words of Mother Teresa over the images, I think was just, I've never been to India. The images were magical. The fact that she took them, I think just kind of awe-inspiring. People were just mesmerized staring at the screen and just listening intently the whole evening.
Can I ask Renee, how did you end up in India?
I go on photography trips, and this was one of my photography trips, and it ended up to be my third time in India.
Wow.
And what are your impressions of the country?
I love it. I describe it as beautiful chaos.
Oh.
That's amazing. So your faith is deepened through photography, and but then not only keep it for yourself and to share it with others. And now, Soup for the Soul will happen again 1 year from now, is that correct? Has a date been set for 2025?
I don't think we have it on the calendar yet, but it's usually at the very end of February. So I think people are kind of used to it being this very last week of February before the 28th in this kind of week here.
So it may hit upon during the season of Lent or may not. And what I find fascinating is, I know for you, Renee, and for Liz being parishioners of the parish, of course, Abby's on the staff, but you are very busy women, and yet you take time to be part of a faith community, to nurture others. But I'm sure with last night, to see a room filled with 160 women, you had to turn women away or had said, no, there's no more room. That had to be invigorating, even knowing that walking in. It's just amazing. And so we actually are out of time.
Can I ask one mundane question?
Of course.
One mundane question.
Mark likes asking mundane questions.
I know. You've fed 160 people. How did you do that? Who makes the soup?
The soup, did we buy? I can't remember where the soup comes from.
The soup came from Olive Garden.
Oh, they're very good. That is terrific.
Pasta fagioli.
I like that. Very, very honest group. I want to thank in a very special way Renee Zorc, Liz Kennedy, and Abby Daniels, who last night together had a tremendous gathering of 160 women for Soup for the Soul. Renee was the keynote speaker. So I want to thank the three of you. God bless you for the work you do at St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville. Continued blessings during this Lenten season. We're going to go to break here on Catholic Chicago, WNDZ 750 AM. Get us on youtube.com/CatholicChicago, youtube.com/CatholicChicago. Father Greg Sackwitz, Mark Teresi, stay with us. We'll be back after these messages. And again, do not touch that dial.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
Our school communities provide students with academic excellence and character education in a supportive and stable learning environment. Come see for yourself. Visit archchicago.org/findaschool.
Catholic Charities' Loss Program was created more than 40 years ago to help survivors of suicide wherever they are in the grieving process. This nationally recognized program continues to offer a safe, non-judgmental environment where survivors of suicide can find community, direction, and resources for healing after suffering the devastating loss of a loved one. Online and in-person services are available for individuals, couples, children, and families of all faith traditions. To learn more, call 312-655-7283 or email loss@catholiccharities.net. Don't suffer alone. We are here to offer loving outreach to survivors of suicide. Contact Catholic Charities today.
Catholic Charities' Refugee Resettlement Program has been especially busy this year, assisting individuals and families who have fled dangerous situations in their homeland, including Afghanistan and the Ukraine. The Refugee Resettlement Team helps with everything they need to start to rebuild their lives in a new country, including housing, employment, clothing, food, English classes, and referrals for legal and immigration services. The refugees are tremendously grateful for the compassion and practical help they're receiving, and they're giving back and helping each other plan for a brighter, safer future. Volunteer opportunities are currently available for those who would like to be family mentors and tutors, so children and adults can practice English. To learn more about these rewarding opportunities, call 312-655-7096. That's 312-655-7096.
Welcome back, WNDZ, 7:50 a.m., Catholic Chicago. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Welcome back. In this segment, we're talking about the bed ministry of St. Joseph Parish in North Suburban Libertyville. It's dedicated to building, assembling, and delivering beds to children in need in the community. Joining us for this segment to talk about the bed ministry at St. Joseph's is Dan Palmieri, Dan Harris, and Anna Roeser. Welcome to Catholic Chicago. Father Greg?
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Fantastic. How are you?
We had three of your other parishioners on just earlier. We had Renee, Liz, and Abby in the first 15 minutes. And I find this bed ministry to be fascinating. Who founded this? Who created this idea? Who wants to speak about the history of the bed ministry? Who wants to give it a try?
I can do that. I'm Dan Harris. Back in 2018, I saw a Facebook show called Returning the Favor from Mike Rowe, from the Dirty Jobs guy. And he highlighted nonprofit groups that were interested in doing good and they wanted to help them out. So they highlighted a group called Sleep in Heavenly Peace out of Twin Falls, Idaho. And after I saw the show, I called them and said, hey, I want to start a chapter here and build beds for kids that don't have them. I thought it'd be a good opportunity for our youth, our mission trip kids to learn how to use power tools and things like that, and to give back to the community. So that's how we started doing that.
That is amazing. So what you saw on television became a reality. It's taken off from there.
Exactly. Dan Harris, how did you get Dan Palmieri involved?
Dan's a real good friend. We've known each other since childhood. We went to school here at St. Joe's together.
Wow.
And he retired from being a bricklayer. And I kind of suckered him in. I asked him for some help one time, and he's been he has been the driving force of our building operation ever since.
So both Dan and Dan, you went to grammar school
at St. Joseph.
And what high school did you guys go to?
Libertyville.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So now then, for Dan Palmieri, you've been involved with this ministry since the beginning with Dan Harris?
Yes, I have been involved since the beginning. So when Dan brought the ministry, and first of all, I'd like to just take a moment and give the glory back to God, and just thank him for his providence, how he provides for us in this ministry. And by that, I mean, right, we've always had means to get the lumber, even when there was supply shortage issues. And so thank him for that and his protection, the way he protects all the volunteers that come into the shop. And certainly we've gone through some Band-Aids, but nothing any more serious than that. Thank his son, my Savior, our Lord Jesus Christ. His call and his command for us is to be his hands. And so this ministry is an opportunity for that. And then the Holy Spirit for his wisdom and guiding us through as we navigate and grow and try to get to more children of God that need beds. Beyond that, thank our pastor, Father John Trout, for his support for all of his support, and all of the volunteers with their hearts for service. And the way that they show up. We have open build nights on Tuesday nights from 6 to 8, and we prepare the components to go out on the delivery. So I just want to give the glory back to God and thank him and go from there.
Beautiful.
Amen.
Anna, how's it working?
Yes.
How is it working with the two Dans?
Do you want the honest truth?
Yes,
sure.
Our show's all about
exactly.
honesty
And transparency.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's wonderful working with them. Dan Harris, I've known him. I think I've been at the parish now for 10 years. I've been a parishioner here for 29 years.
Wow.
And so I've been very fortunate to work with Dan. He's got the hugest heart I know and always wants to do good. I'm always trying to keep him in his lane and not to spend more money than he should, which is challenging. And Dan Palmieri, he's a wonderful, wonderful man and his wife, very faith-filled. And I was part of the greeter team for the drive-in masses. So I worked side by side with both Dans for 3 years, and just I'm very proud of both of them. And I'm glad to call them my friends.
Now, can I ask this? Because you mentioned the drive-in mass. St. Joe's Parish is noted for these creative, innovative ideas.
Ministries.
Like what the ministry you're doing now, that ministry which reached a lot of people with the parking lot mass. Where does that come from? Where does that come from?
Well, I can speak to that real briefly. It's the vision of our pastor, Father John Trout. He assembled a team of leadership here. He's also empowered all of our volunteers to work with us along side by side. His mission is to develop communities of communities. So he wants everyone to be interconnected, working together for the greater glory of God, to welcome everyone to the parish. So he's got some great people surrounding him, both parishioners and volunteers.
Yeah, Father John Trout has got a tremendous reputation as a priest in the Archdiocese. He's one of our very, very best. Going back to Dan Harris for a second, did you say that every Tuesday evening between 6 and 8 p.m. is when you are building these beds?
Correct. Yeah, we take raw construction lumber and we cut it to length of the pieces that we need, and then we run it through planers, routers, and then we have a whole crew of sanding people, about 15 to 20 people sanding all the pieces to make it smooth so that when the child gets it, it's like furniture. I mean, that's basically what we're doing, is making basic furniture.
Now, as I'm looking here at the photos online here, which is fascinating, where are these beds being built?
Yeah.
And the size of that room looks to be humongous. So where is this this workplace?
Well, actually, we're using one of our vacant spaces last year because we had a huge inrush. And since then, we've gone back to our maintenance shop that's in the back of the strip mall that the parish or the Archdiocese owns next to our church.
You know, the one right on Milwaukee.
We have about 3,000 square feet there where we set up all these, all the processes. Some nights it's sanding, some nights it's assembly, some nights it's dipping, because we have a solution that we dip all the pieces in to give them some color and some protection. So
maybe each of you, I'm just fascinated with how do you find the young folks that need the beds, and maybe each of you, have you had an experience of delivering the bed and the response that you get? Maybe start with Dan Palmieri and then Anna and then Dan again.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. So I was on deliveries very early in the ministry, and I'm more now in the bed shop. But I was on one with our delivery manager and another gentleman, Tim, and we showed up at the house, and so the mom was home, dad was at work, the two kids were at school, and we built a bunk. So we can take these single beds, attach one on top of the other, and make bunk beds, which really helps in space constraints. But the mom was so gracious, and her story was this: they were going to have to move some money from, maybe not buy some food or something else, so they were ready to go to a retail store and buy the beds for their children. She had contact with a friend who we had delivered beds to her children, and so one thing led to another, and now we're in her home delivering the bed. She was so grateful. So now her and her husband were able to take that money and use it for the other things. So she prayed over us. She blessed us. She blessed our hands. She blessed our backs. It was such a moving, the delivery side of it is so, that's what it's all about when the child of God gets a bed. That's, that evening she sent a video to Dennis, our delivery manager, of her children coming home from school, and they surprised them by opening their bedroom door. And the young boy, he was 8 or 9 years old, climbed up onto the top bunk and exclaimed and proclaimed, "Mom, you don't have to come in and check on me anymore." Wow. So that's just one Beautiful. And just to get current, we're at 1,907 children of God in beds as a result of these efforts. There's going to be 3 more that are get delivered to today. Wow. But that's just one story. I mean, all the. So I'll let the others speak of their experience.
Well, before we move on to Anna, you're talking that almost at this point 2,000 beds, almost 2,000 beds, have been built and delivered since this ministry began.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh!
I can share quickly two stories real quick if I'll be very brief. So I've only been on a handful of deliveries, and they're during COVID. And the first one, Dan Harris was with me, and we walked into an apartment of a very young mother and a young, maybe grade school girl that was had some challenges, and there was absolutely not a stick of furniture in that house. And I was so moved by it, and our team, we came back and said, we have to help her. We have to do something. So we assembled some team members here, reached out to our parishioners, see if they had any furniture to donate. And we came back a few weeks later during COVID and delivered furniture so that she had a couch, she had a kitchen table. It was just the necessities of life. And then what was so moving was that she had her young daughter give us a little card to say thank you. And she grabbed any money she had, which was change. And she says, please give this to your food pantry. I want to help others. Oh, wow. And my second quick story, and this is just so moving too. I was shortly thereafter went to another home, and it was a young mom. She had to be maybe in her late 20s, and there were 2 young boys there, but she was blind and couldn't work. And the boys didn't have beds. And so it was just, so like we came back and said, what can we do? So we gathered with our food pantry, delivering them food every week to get them some help. But it's just devastating to see here in our backyards in Lake County, the tremendous need.
Yeah, in Lake County.
Both Anna and Dan, thank you for sharing those stories. Those are from the heart. In fact, it's interesting, sharing those stories is what I'm sure invigorates and energizes you to keep this ministry going. And the very fact that over 1,900 beds have been delivered is just staggering. But listening to all 3 of you, in just the way you're speaking with such enthusiasm and joy, It's fascinating how it's one thing you have created and made beds to share in the community in your own backyard, but how this ministry has touched your lives in a very Christ-like way. So I want to thank in a very special way for the tremendous bed ministry of St. Joseph Parish in Libertyville, Dan Palmieri, Dan Harris, and Anna Roeser. Thank you for sharing the stories. It went by so fast, this 15-minute segment. So God bless all of you. Keep doing the work of the Lord in this vineyard, because then I always tell people we are the hands, the eyes, the feet of the Lord to love this world back into life. So again, thank you, Dan, and Anna, for sharing your story and the great ministry.
Can I, if people want to donate to this ministry, how do they do that?
Our website, sjbeds.org or sjbeds.com. Either one of them gets to us, and that's our website. And you can request a bed, you can donate, you can volunteer. There's
so again,
all
that,
kinds of
that,
things you can
Dan,
do.
that website one more time.
sjbeds.org.
Very good. On that note, we will bring this segment to a close. We want to thank again Dan, and Anna for sharing your story, this wonderful bed ministry. Again, you're listening to WNDZ 750 AM. Also get us on youtube.com/CatholicChicago. Father Greg Sakowicz, Mark Teresi will be back after these messages. And again, do not touch that dial.
Year 44 for me teaching. When I started here, there were teachers here that had taught me when I was a student. Now I'm the old person. Right now, I teach junior high math. I love when kids find what I'm teaching to be fun and they get it. I see that light bulb go off and it's a thrill. People are always amazed. What? You're here for 44 years? It's hard for me to believe, frankly. I love what I do. Every summer I think, oh, I miss the classroom. Even on the weekends, I think I can't wait to get back on Monday and teach those quadratic equations.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Did you know that Catholic Charities accepts car donations? If you're ready to free up space in your garage and put a stop to all those expenses that go along with owning a car, we will gratefully accept your donation, whether the car is running or not. You choose a pickup time that is convenient for you, and we will make the donation as easy as possible, free of charge. You'll receive a charitable donation receipt as well. We accept all types of vehicles nationwide, and you will know that your donation is made to Catholic Charities, an agency you can trust. To learn more about donating your car, call 877-786-4483. That's 877-786-4483. Thank you.
The Cemetery Ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
Ancestry and genealogy are more important every day. People all over the world are wanting to learn more about their family heritage for personal and for health reasons. At Catholic Charities, we are hearing from adults who lived for a brief time at St. Vincent's Orphanage, the wonderful life-affirming agency that operated out of our headquarters for 91 years, serving thousands of women, children, and families until it closed in 1972. Our post-adoption services help adults who want to learn more about their experience at St. Vincent's. Our compassionate staff members provide whatever family background information they can offer, along with support and reunion services. To learn more, call 312-655-7093. That's 312-655-7093. The spirit of St. Vincent's lives on in the inspiring stories that continue to emerge today.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.